A shocking alleged kidnapping plot has just been uncovered in Jos, Plateau State, and this case is raising serious questions because the suspects reportedly include not only a clergyman, but also a serving personnel of the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian Navy. According to a report attributed to Sahara reporters, the Plateau State Police Command has arrested 3 people over an alleged plot to kidnap the 2 wives of prominent bishops in the state. The reported arrest came after security operatives allegedly received intelligence about a planned adoption and moved to stop it before the suspected targets could be attacked. The incident reportedly occurred on Friday, August 7, 2026, at about 2:10 p.m. in Jos. The suspects have been identified as 42-year-old Reverend Hassan Unisim, manager of Tudun Wada in Jos North local government area, Sergeant Ezra Sunday of the Nigerian Air Force, and OS Usman Khalid of the Nigerian Navy. The identities of the alleged targets make the case even more sensitive. According to the reports, the suspected plot was allegedly directed at the wives of Bishop Ephraim Gordon and retired Bishop Benjamin Kwashi. Both clerics are reportedly associated with the Rantai area of Jos South local government area. But here is where the story becomes even more disturbing. The 2 military personnel allegedly linked to the case are said to be attached to the Sector 1 of Operation Enduring Peace, a joint security operation responsible for maintaining peace and combating criminal activities in Plateau State. If established in court, the allegation will raise serious concern about the infiltration of criminal activity into security structure designed to protect the public. So how did the police uncover the alleged plots? According to the information reported by Sahara reporters, security operatives received what was described as a credible intelligence concerning an alleged criminal conspiracy and a foiled attempt to adopt the women. Rather than wait for the alleged plan to unfold, the police reportedly launched an operation to identify and apprehend those suspected of being involved. The operation was said to have been led by the commander of the Vigilance and Criminal Response Unit, or VCRU. That operation reportedly resulted in the arrest of the 3 suspects. The police, according to the reports, subsequently interrogated the suspects and claimed that they confessed to their alleged involvement in the suspected kidnapping plan. That claim is important, but it must also be treated carefully. An alleged confession at the police stage does not by itself amount to criminal conviction. The suspect remains entitled to due process, and the prosecution will have to establish the allegation before a competent court. There is another major question. Were these 3 suspects allegedly acting alone, or could they have been connected to a wider criminal network? That is one of the issues investigators are now expected to examine. Authorities reportedly want to establish the full circumstances surrounding the alleged conspiracy and determine whether additional people were involved. The police are also expected to investigate how a serving clergyman and 2 serving security personnel could allegedly become connected to a plan targeting the wives of prominent religious figures. The alleged involvement of military personnel is particularly significant. The Nigerian Air Force and Nigerian Navy are expected to maintain strict standards of discipline and professionalism. Members of the armed forces are entrusted with weapons, intelligence, and responsibilities that directly affect national security. This means that any allegation that serving personnel were involved in a criminal activity would require serious investigation. At the same time, it is important not to confuse an allegation with guilt. Being arrested does not mean the suspect have been convicted. The investigation must establish what actually happened, what evidence exists, and whether the alleged plan was real, how far it has progressed, and who, if anyone was behind it. The leadership of Operation Enduring Peace has reportedly been informed about the arrest of 2 personnel attached to the operation. That notification could become important as investigators seek to determine whether the suspect acted independently or whether there were other individuals who may have provided information, logistics, or assistance. And there is a wider security dimension to this story. Plateau State has experienced years of insecurity, communal violence, attacks, and criminal activities. Jos, the state capital, has also faced security challenges at different times. The alleged targeting of the wives of senior Christian clerics therefore goes beyond a suspected kidnapping case. It touches on questions of security, religious tensions, and the protection of prominent citizens in the state that has experienced repeated episodes of violence. If the allegations are confirmed, investigators will need to establish the motive behind the alleged plot. Was it purely financial? Was there a personal motive? Was the alleged plan connected to a wider criminal organization? Or was there another objective? Those questions remain unanswered. Another issue is how much intelligence the alleged suspects may have gathered about the intended victims. Kidnapping operations typically require information about movements, routines, location, and vulnerabilities. Investigators will therefore need to determine whether the suspects have been monitoring the women and whether any surveillance has already taken place. The case also highlights the importance of intelligence-led policing. According to the reports, it was intelligence that allegedly allowed security operatives to intervene before reported kidnapping could occur. If accurate, that demonstrates why cooperation between communities, intelligence agencies, the police, and other security formations remain critical. Yet, intelligence is only one part of the equation. The authorities must also ensure that investigations are conducted professionally, evidence is probably preserved, and any suspect found culpable are prosecuted in accordance with Nigerian law. The public will also be watching closely to see whether additional arrests are made. At this stage, the Plateau State Police Command has reportedly confirmed the arrests and said investigations are continuing. The authorities are also expected to determine whether other people were connected to the alleged conspiracy. For the families of the 2 bishops, the immediate priority is security. For the wider public, the case raises a much larger concern. If the allegations are proven, how did individuals entrusted with public security allegedly become connected to a criminal plan? That is the question investigators will have to answer. And as the investigation continues, the distinction between the allegation and established fact remains crucial. The 3 suspects must face due process, while security agencies must pursue every credible lead to determine whether there was a wider network behind the alleged plot. What is clear is that a suspected kidnapping operation has been intercepted before the alleged targets were adopted, and the arrest of a clergyman alongside 2 serving security personnel has made this one of the more unusual security cases emerging from Plateau State. We will continue to follow developments as investigators work to establish what really happened, whether more suspects are involved, and what evidence will eventually emerge in court. If you value clear, balanced, and independent reporting on Nigerian security and political developments, subscribe to our channel and share this report to others so they need to know what's happening across the country. I'm Chimezrim Okoro, and I will see you soon.